I'll introduce myself briefly. My name is Stuart Ferguson. I'm here with Fix Software as the solutions engineering lead. In my previous roles outside of the CMMS industry, I worked in maintenance and operations with Procter and Gamble through operations management, kind of living that day-to-day operations and maintenance life. So bringing that kind of experience in and talking about the CMMS journey and maintenance strategy. What we really want to talk is basically what you guys have just shared with us, and it's exactly what we typically see coming out of the space we play, right? It's that preventative attitude, that time-based, condition-based, where you want to know and replace things before you actually hit that critical failure. But we still live in this world where reactive maintenance is still a reality. So what we do see most is that reactive, time-based maintenance. You're doing your quarterly inspections, your quarterly preventative maintenance, that kind of thing, where you're taking your equipment down on timed intervals, and that is core of almost all maintenance strategies, really, that we see after those kind of become defined within an organization. What we do want to talk today, though, is taking that core, that reactive, getting your preventative, your time-based, and starting to play in condition-based monitoring, and really moving that upstream. So how do we identify what's next and how do we move there? And one thing I will always say is it always revolves around these strong fundamentals. So your preventative time-based maintenance, that's not going to go anywhere. And I think we lose sight of that a little bit when we talk about this best in class and really driving after this predictive analytics and AI. That will come into play, but where we're going to use that is your most critical assets, those pieces that can't go down, those really high value assets. What you are going to find is a proper and a really robust maintenance strategy is we're going to revolve around all of these. At some point, we are still going to do reactive maintenance. There's not a lot of applications I've ever run into where you replace a light bulb before it burns out. A good example of where a reactive strategy actually does play best. Coming from this, I really want to point out that what you're looking towards is an actionable endpoint. So when you bring in all this equipment and sensors, devices, when we start talking about time-based and condition-based maintenance, what's your actionable endpoint? What are you using to really drive these results and drive action coming out of this? And that's really where the CMMS journey starts to play. And I only have a couple slides for you, and I think let's take a look at the next one when we talk about the CMMS journey and where we're going. So if you look at this connected platform box here in the middle right, that's really this holy grail of where we're trying to get to in the CMMS industry, where everything's connected, everything's talking. Really what you're looking for there is an open, connected platform, sharing data between multiple systems, multiple devices, right? You don't want a locked-in ecosystem where everything's closed. You want to be able to share that data and move it around. The reality is this isn't where we are as an industry yet. And we can't get there without those bottom left two items, right? If you can really drive your asset performance and really drive that maintenance efficiency to a point where all of your work is tracked, your asset performance is improving, your maintenance efficiency is improving, you can manage against that. And that's really those core bread and butter buckets of what a CMMS does for you. You can really get your work in there, you get your asset information in there, you start building this data set where you can then move up and to the right, where you get into this reporting and analytics, and that's really making these data-driven decisions. And we do see a lot of this today. The only problem with how we see it today is it's very manual. So you're working off of Excel sheets, you're pulling this data out of legacy systems and trying to crunch it, and you've got some brilliant people spending a lot of their time sorting through and finding data instead of actually actioning that data. And that's really where we get into the reporting and analytics system of a CMMS and what a CMMS feeds. So not only are you going to take information from your CMMS, you're going to take information from maybe your ERP systems, maybe your machine level SCADA systems, and really start driving into those assets and the details and what you're doing on a day-to-day, what you're doing down the road, and making decisions on what's the most important. From there, we move into that connected platform. When you're pulling that information from all these different sources, we can start to automate that process and integrate those processes where your CMMS system could be taking in that vibration analysis and actioning that in a live manner so that your technicians are on the floor, with their mobile device, getting a push notification that tells them a vibration analysis creeping out of spec on a roller conveyor on the other side of the plant. right? And they can go, they can inspect that, take a look, plan that maintenance, and really react to that condition on a live and in a live way that really means something, you know, to them and avoids failure. Once we get that connected platform, which is really where we're pushing to, we're going to unlock these new ways to operate where, you know, we're not going down. We're predicting our failures. We're predicting when we need to do our maintenance, how we need to do that maintenance, and at the right frequency and when. And that's really, you know, where we're all kind of looking to right now.